Hello IB students, whether you're standard level or higher level. This video is just for you, covering the broad outline of paper 1 with my key tips as an IB teacher here to guide you as well. Right, paper 1, I must admit it's not my favourite exam. It's a tough one for a variety of reasons, but you need to best prepare yourself for everything that paper 1 is going to throw at you. Let's go through the structure in red first. The paper is 90 minutes long. That's very important for you to know. Remember, there are going to be 4 parts of this question. Your first 10, your first 15, your second 10, your second 15. They're your 4 parts. You need to divide time accordingly for those 90 minutes. And I'll give you my tips about time allocation in a second. So you know you're going to have a choice between 2 questions for micro and a choice between 2 questions for macro. Each question in your choice is going to have an A part worth 10 marks and a B part worth 15 marks. Whichever question you pick from micro and macro, you have to answer both parts of the question. Alright? So just 2 choices for macro, pick one, A part and B part, you must do that question. 2 choices for macro, pick a question, A part, B part, you must answer for the question you've picked. That's important. You also have 5 minutes worth of reading time. I'll come back to that in a second. That is super, super important. That's the basic outline of the paper. The questions, you've got no guidance at all. 0. It's just the question, then off you go. Right? No context, no stimulus material, no extracts, nothing. Just the worded question and off you go. So you need to know everything. You need to know the theory, of course, your definitions, your examples, your diagrams. Everything needs to be in your head, ready to go. You're going to get no help. That's why paper 1 is tough. At the same time, you only have 90 minutes. Let's talk about that. The allocation of time, you have got to be seriously on the ball. Seriously on the ball. Let me tell you now, IB examiners are going to be fair because they know under such time pressure, it's going to be so hard for you to absolutely smash this exam. It's very difficult. To write really good answers in 15 minutes and 30 minutes is difficult. So they're on your side immediately. If you do a really good job, you make a good fist given the time pressure, you're going to do well. So these times, don't get concerned by them. All my students in the past have done so well using these guidelines. It can be done, you need to practice. What I'd recommend is 15 minutes maximum on the 10 marker. You think about it, you're answering 2 questions, aren't you? One from micro, one from macro. The paper is 90 minutes long, so you've got 45 minutes per question you pick. So 15 minutes on the 10 marker is all you need. Watch my video, it's in this playlist, on how to answer a 10 marker. And you realise that in 15 minutes, it's all in your head, you're motoring through, definitely can be done. All students in the past have found that okay. So 15 minutes max on the 10 marker. That's so important because you can't sacrifice time away from the 15 marker. And my recommendation is you leave at least 30 minutes on the 15 marker. Now that is going to push you. That's the best you can do, really. If you're really smart, you might just shade a minute or 2 off the 10 marker and use that extra for the 15, but at least 30 minutes must be your target for the 15 marker. Now, IB are funny, right? They write things at the front of the paper that's quite interesting. Now this isn't written at the front, but I've been to numerous IB conferences, and all the IB examiners and chief blah 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 people, ego people, are saying, look, examples. Everything is about examples in paper 1. You need to come up with your own examples, no help. But the better you use examples, the more effectively you use examples, the better your mark is going to be. So on a 10 marker, they've told me, look, the difference between an 8 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10 are examples. A question that doesn't use, an answer that doesn't use examples well is not going to score beyond 8. If you don't use examples at all, you're going to struggle to score beyond 6. So examples are really important. The word effective, you need to use examples throughout your essay, your 10 and 15 essay. Not lumped at the end, not just kind of thrown on without much meaning, throughout to explain your theory. Nail your diagrams. Have you noticed on the front cover of your paper 1, it talks about diagrams, how diagrams should be labelled and referred to. What kind of exam board would put that on the front cover of their exam paper? Incredible. That tells you the weight that IB examiners put on diagrams. IB economics examiners love their diagrams so much. So if you use them, you've got to nail them. You've got to label them, you've got to make sure they're detailed, You've got to make sure there's nothing inaccurate on them, you haven't missed anything on them. Most importantly, you've got to talk about them, refer to them in your writing. That's important. To make sure that the timed conditions doesn't scare you, you've got to practice. You've got to, otherwise it's too difficult. 15 minutes for the 10, practice, 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 you'll get it. You'll get it. 30 minutes for the 15, practice, 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 you'll get there as well. You won't without practice. That's a massive tip I'm going to give you. And lastly, this 5 minutes reading time. Again, considering the time pressure you're in, do you have time to plan an essay? If you do, it's got to be a very, very quick plan. In truth, the 5 minutes is where obviously you can't write anything down, but in your head, obviously you're going through, you're picking your question. Because there isn't much to read, picking your question should be very easy and quick. The rest of the time you must use to formulate a mental plan in your head for the kinds of questions you're going to answer. Then, when it comes to writing, if you need to sketch a quick plan, it will be very quick. But that's where the 5 minutes reading time comes in. In your head, you can do all these key things. Picking your question, yes, but formulating mental essay plans as well to help you hit these times that I've suggested, all right? So these tips really are important for what can be a tricky paper, but remember, the examiners are on your side. Keep watching the next videos as I go through the technique to answering the 10 and the 15 marker. Very important. I will see you in those videos. Thank you so much for watching.